guys, it is Jouelzy and today is, check it out, Smart Brown Girl Thursday. Shop.smartbrowngirl.com, support the Smart Brown Girl movement. We also have a pre-sale of sorority colored Smart Brown Girl sweatshirts only. It's pre-sale only. Once the pre-sale's over, that's a wrap for them. All right, let's get into this because my whole life was changed on Monday night. Finally got myself together, hopped in the cab, and took my behind to the movie theater and went to go see Selma. Girl, if you follow me on Snapchat or on Instagram, I was all laid out. So this Smart Brown Girl is dedicated to giving my second Smart Brown Girl movie review for the Ava Duvernay's Selma. Selma, the movie done moved me so much, I done even looked up how to correctly pronounce Ava Duvernay's last name. Let's play it again.
Duvernay.
Okay. Duvernay, we got that right because it was, she slayed all hopes of you. I stay mispronouncing people's names, so I want to show respect to homegirl because girl, for whatever reason, when black movies come out, there seems to be this like train of thought when a movie talks about the history of black Americans that people don't want to go see it because, oh my gosh, too many emotions, or why can't we just be happy, or like, it's just like, look, let's just understand the mechanics that happen in Hollywood, and that for all your cockamamie reasons for not wanting to go see Selma, it is very hard to get anything beyond a Tyler Perry film produced in Hollywood. The movie is so daggone bomb that African-American business leaders have come together to create a fund to allow students in particular cities the opportunity to go see Selma for free. Like my 8-year-old self, I would take to see Selma. I was the kid you had to hide the newspaper from. If you could take your child to go see Mockingjay, the third installation of Hunger Games, then your child can go see Selma. The magic that Duvernay just blessed us all with. And I took notes, girl, because it was that serious. So first of all, don't wear too much makeup, a big old pair of sunglasses, because you will shed tears. I'm a emo thug. I be crying in the darkness of the movie theater. The particular scene within like the first 15 minutes of the movie, and I knew what it was because I counted. It was a church, and I went 1, 2, 3. I counted. It is historical, so I already knew what was fitting to happen, and it still caught me. I was like, oh, it still got me. And I was watching an interview with Ava Duvernay, who she's magnificent. He was saying how, cause shout out to the director of photography, Bradford Young, my man, you did your thing. But she was saying how they purposely edited the movie because they wanted you to realize the gravity of what was happening. So they slowed certain things down. It was like pow in slow motion because you needed to understand that the humanistic depth of what was happening and how real this was. It's supposed to really move you. And for a movie, Selma packed a lot of historical context into what was like 2.5 hours. Ava Duvernay was not, I'm gonna keep saying her name because I know how to pronounce it now. Ava Duvernay in an interview said that she was not able to get the licensing to Martin Luther King's speeches. You know, all of King's speeches are copyrighted, and they didn't have the ease of just having these already crafted, magnificent speeches to use. They had to rewrite and come up with their own speeches that still captured the essence of the power of Martin Luther King as a orator. Ava and her crew have gotten some heat about how they portrayed Lyndon B Johnson in the movie, in that he doesn't come across as like a true blue supporter of the demands that Martin Luther King is making about the civil rights movement. And I think that's way more accurate than this kind of whole idea of this white savior that's so often presented about white men who did push through legislation for the civil rights movement. I mean, if you go back, let's just pause here, because if you go back, you can listen to James Baldwin on camera being interviewed about the time that him, Harry Belafonte, Lorraine Hansberry, and a few other people up in Harlem had robbed Robert F. Kennedy come through and sit down, and he thinking because he is the herald of the black man at the time in politics that they often greet him with happy faces and Cheerios. And James Baldwin was like, we sat homeboy down and told him straight, like, what you're doing is not enough. You don't understand. Your privilege is preceding you here, and you don't really understand the plight of the black man or the black woman in America. So let us break it down to you how this ish we ain't nowhere near the cherry being put on top of the civil rights movement right now. It's very realistic that as the president and what that means to be the president, that Lyndon Johnson did push back on certain things, and that he was playing to his own political benefit, and he wasn't really just a champion of civil rights because he so believed in the rights of the black man. I think, you know, you kind of have the political spectrum at that time, what was going on. And you know, the movie didn't even allude to how much the Vietnam War and what was going on with that impacted the civil rights movement and how kind of crazy it is. You know, I don't think the representation of him in the movie was inaccurate by any stretch of the imagination. So what I appreciated was the showing of women, and I think this is what gets left out of the conversation so much with civil rights, is how much women played the role, especially to the powers of Coretta Scott King, who, I think we kind of look back on everything with rose-colored glasses, and we want everything to just, you know, look back at it as if it was all prim and proper, and, you know, a white flag was raised and we won the war, and that's not really how it happened. You know, I think sometimes Coretta Scott King's own prowess is played down in history in that, you know, they did touch on Martin Luther King's infidelities. And so, you know, rather than portraying her as someone who didn't know, or is it not causing any problem, or is it not being a burden that she took on, you know, I feel like they really kind of showed the strength of what it meant for Coretta Scott King to be the wife of Martin Luther King and the mother of his children, and how she did impact the civil rights movement. You know, oh my gosh, when Malcolm X showed up in the movie, I was like, well, yo, they casted this movie so well. And they touched on everything. Like this shit was real life. Like, this wasn't the civil rights movement was everybody agreed and everybody rose up and everybody was in comeuppance with each other. No, they really talked about how they played people against each other. And when Malcolm X showed up, my dude, that was good. That was the whole exchange between Malcolm X and Coretta Scott King. I was in there like, you know, I'm aware of the world around me, and I'm aware of how the landscape of America is changing, and how what it means to be black in America is ever evolving and ever expanding. And I think so often kind of, you know, there's been a downplay about the culture of what it means to be a black American or an African American, or however you want to self-identify. And I feel like for me, this movie kind of just showed like how much weight our community and culture does really carry. Like, this is part of my own fabric. I just walked out of that movie just with so much pride, but so much understanding of how much work we really have to do. This is my favorite, one of my favorite scenes was when Martin Luther King, after having a real rough night, he got up and called Mahalia Jackson at some wee hours of the night, played by Lettucey. That's when I knew the casting was on point. When Lettucey rolled up out the bed and sang a Mahalia Jackson song, all he said to her was, Mahalia, I need to hear the voice of God right now. Now, let me tell you, my favorite song when I am down and out, from the Black, Brown, and Beige Duke Ellington album, it is Come Sunday with Mahalia Jackson. Like, I'm sorry to keep having to bring up, but you know, I got my sternum smashed on by a young man out here, and he was still in my house. I put on Come Sunday, because I needed to, in that moment, I needed to hear the voice of God. And literally, when Lettucey got up and sang as Mahalia Jackson, give it a moment. And, you know, they kind of talk about the division between the younger college-age students who felt like they had mobilized, and King, which is coming in with the camera to take all their glory away. Wendell Pierce played Hosea Williams, who we should all know courtesy of Real Housewives of Atlanta because his granddaughter is Portia. Now, really, Hosea Williams' real legacy is obviously, you know, a program that still runs in Atlanta today. Was a significant player in the civil rights movement. You know, his motto was unbought and unbossed. Which, you know, and my shady behind the whole time in the movie, at the end, when they kind of do run-bys of where each person ends up, I was waiting for them to get to Hosea and be like, he went on to be a civil rights leader through his Unbought and Unbossed campaign, but his granddaughter, Portia, was bought for 14 ounces of weave and as dumb as doorknobs. That's what I was waiting for the whole time. Not shade, but shade. Just go see it. Like, I think for a lot of people, it's a great introductory to American history. I think it should provoke you to look up more about American history, what the civil rights movement really was at that time, and how we can learn from it and how we can take from it in 2015. And let me know in the comments, if you've seen Selma, what was your reaction? And please just don't, you know, even if you didn't particularly care for it, like, let me know in depth. Tell me what it is, and maybe I can get Ava Duvernay to do a Smart Brown Girl interview. Maybe that'll be one of my 30 Wild 30 goals. I just absolutely positively loved every bit of this movie. Good Kid, Mad City is an epic album. Love it. Still play it. You should just rap more and talk less and read a few books.